This is a quick review of percentages, especially of increase and decrease, which is on the GED test. Percent means of 100 or out of 100, or divided per means divided by or split out. Cent is the root word for 100. So 30% means if there are 100 of these things, 30 of these things qualify. So if you saw that 30% of people agree with the mayor, that means if you had asked 100 people, 30 of them would probably say they would agree with the mayor. If 30% of pet owners say they have at least 2 dogs, then that means if you'd ask 100 pet owners, 30 of them would say they have at least 2 dogs. So what does this look like? You have to think of it like this. So if the whole block is 1 or 100 or all the people there, then 9/10 or 90 out of that 100 or 90% of that group is falls into the category or whatever it is. If you had surveyed 100 people and 47 of them say that they are supportive of whatever, then 47%. Same thing here. This is 9%. This means only 9 out of 100. That's what percent really means. You could also write it as a decimal. So it can be written 3 ways, really. It can be written as a fraction, as a percentage, or as a decimal. But it all means the exact same thing. So you can also think of it as like cents out of a dollar. That's probably the easiest way that people think about this. So 47 cents is 47% of a dollar. See, cent is that root word because it means 100. Another way to think of it. So all of something is 100% of that something, whatever that something is. All of it is 100% of it. So whenever you're trying to solve out problems and it tells you that they ate 20% of the items, if all the items are 100% and they ate 20% of the items, you think 100 minus 20 is 80. And this comes in handy a lot when you think about sales. If you buy a shirt and the shirt was originally $30, but it was 20% off, you can only subtract percents from percents. You can't directly subtract the 20% from the 30. You have to find what that 20% is because 20% varies from item to item. If the shirt costs $30, if the shirt is $30 and you have to take away 20% of that 30, it's different than saying, here's a pair of pants that are $40, but I'm still going to take 20% off. So you never, ever subtract percentages directly from a number. You have to find the percentage first. But keep in your mind, if they reduce it by 20%, that means you still pay 80%. So you got to find 80% of 30, and to do that, you multiply. Or here, if they take off 20% of the value of the pants, you're still paying 80%. So you still have to say 40 times 80%. Another way to look at percents, the whole thing is 100% of it. And then all these groups or all these foods are part of that 100%. So if they said, what percent, if you're supposed to have 2,000 calories in a day, how many of those calories need to come from fruit? So you would have to say 2,000 times 30%. And that would be 600, if I'm not mistaken. So the basics of percentages is that what a percentage really is it's the part over the whole, or part divided by whole. And when you solve it out, you're going to get typically a decimal number, 0.85, 0.61, 0.33, whatever it is, which you then can convert to a percentage. So you just move the decimal 2 places. So that 0.85 is the same as 85%. 0.61 is the same as 61%. 0.33 is the same as 33%. But you also have to think, if you get an answer of 0.0004, it's not 4%. You just move 2 places to change from a decimal to a percent. So 0.0004 is the same as 0.04%, which is a small number. So let's look at this first example. This is a really simplistic example. 500 people voted in an election. 300 voters cast a vote for Marcus Williams. What percent voted for Marcus? So yet again, part over the whole. The part that voted for him over everybody. And so you can do it this way, and it's 300 divided by 500. So 300 divided by 500 would give you an answer of 0.6. And then there's all these invisible zeros I've written out here. But you just move it 2 places to convert from a decimal to a percent, so it becomes 60%. So if you had asked 100 people or who you voting for, just in general, 60 of them, or 60%, would say, I voted for Marcus Williams. So this is the percent formula. The percent formula looks just like this. My marker's having a little bit of trouble. So it's part over whole is percent over 100. You'll see this up on the top corner of all the slides from here on out as a reminder. The only thing you got to remember is you have to identify which one's the part, which one's the whole, which one's the percent, and that 100 comes every time, and that's how you do percent to a number. It's just the easy way to do it. So, oh my goodness, this one's like really, really wonky. 500 people voted for Marcus. 300 500 people voted. 300 voted for him. What percent voted for Marcus? So, hey, there we go. So to solve this, you first have to say part over whole is percent over 100, because it asks what percent. So that tells me that's the one we're looking for. So you take the part, put it over the whole, take the percent, put it over the 100, and then you cross multiply. 300 times 100 will give you 30,000. 500 times x will be 500x. So then when you solve this out, you've got 500x is equal to 30,000. Now you just divide both sides by 500. Divide by 500. So you have 30,000 divided by 500, and that gives you 60. 60% of the people voted for him. Next one. Maurice visits a store where she buys $35 worth of food. He pays $210 in tax. What is the tax rate? Tax rate is always a percent. So this is we're looking for percent problem. The tax is the part. That's why it goes there. The actual value of everything is the whole. So there's the whole. So you'd cross multiply. X times 35 is 35x. 210 times 100, 2.10 times 100 is 210. 210 is equal to 35x. So you divide both sides by 35. Divide by 35, divide by 35, your answer is 6. So your answer is the tax rate is 6%. Troy made a down payment on a new truck. The down payment is a part of the total fee he has to pay. The total amount was 25%. There's your percent, so we know the percent goes there. As long as you know that part over the whole is percent over 100, it asks what is the value of the truck. In other words, what is that whole? So 4,500 over the whole is 25 over 100. Cross multiply, 25x, 4,500 times 100. Then you multiply that out, you get 25x is equal to 450,000. Divide both sides by 25 to get rid of the 25 because you only want x. And when you do, you get a value of 18,000. And that would be a reasonable amount. That's another thing to look at this. It asks, what is the value of the truck? If my answer is $18,000, yeah, you know an $18,000 vehicle is pretty reasonable. That sounds about right. If you've gotten a value of 18, the truck's not worth 18. It's worth 18,000. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you come to percentages that are over 100. If that happens, if 100% or more of something is all of it, or one time, 100% is equal to 1.00, or just 1. Adding twice the amount means 200%. If you have an amount and you add 100%, what you really have is you have 100% plus 100% because you're adding 100%. Now you have 200%. So here's an example of this. Maya's baby Ellie was 8 pounds when she was born. At her age 2 checkup, so here's a number for you, and they're going to throw this number in there. You go, ooh, I got to use that 2. No, you don't have to use that 2. But at age 2, she had gained 200% more weight. So how much weight has the baby gained? So X is the part. Eight is the whole because it was the original. Another way to think of this is the whole is the original. The percent here is 200 and the hundred's the 100. So X over 8 is 200 over 100. So how much weight did the baby gain in 2 years is what we're doing here. So 200 times 8 and X times 100. That'll be 200 times 8 equals X over X times 100. 1600 equals 100X. Divide both sides by 100, you get 16. So in 2 years, the baby gained 16 pounds. So the baby's now a 24-pound 2-year-old. That's reasonable. Okay, that's good. So now we look at change, and this is really the crux of the matter. This is really where they test you. Percent of increase or decrease involves one additional step usually. I misspelled additional. Sorry about that. You have to add or subtract at the beginning or at the end of the process. Wow. Thank goodness this isn't language, right? So here's an example. If Karina's buying some new pants, she picks a pair priced at $40. The store's having a sale and discounting everything 20% off. What amount does she pay? Not how much does she save, but what amount does she pay? So first you have to find the discount. And then once you find the discount, you'll take the original and say minus that discount. And that's how much you pay. So the part here is X. We first need to find that discount. The whole is the original. The percent is 20 because there it is. And the hundred's the 100. So we're looking for the discount first. There's our original price. This is our percent. And there's our 100 just kind of hanging out there. So X times 100 is 100X. 20 times 40 is 20 times 40, which is 800, is 100X. Then we divide both sides by whatever was X. Here it's 100. So divide both sides by 100, and you get 8. Now, on a test, I can guarantee you've got an A, B, C, and D choice. 8 is going to be one of those choices because you solve all this out and you go, oh my goodness, I'm through. 8. And you look up there and B is 8. And you go, there it is. And you circle it and you're done. You move on to the next question. It doesn't ask how much do you save. It asks what amount does she pay. So with that, you got to take that original now minus the discount and you get the new sales price. And that's 32. That's your answer. Let's look at a couple more of these. Julio bought a meal that was originally $5.25. He had to pay 8% tax on the meal. After tax is added, what is his change if he paid with a 20? So we're looking for part. Here's our whole, our original. There's our percent. Here is our 100. So 8 times 525 will be 42. X times 100 is 100X. You divide both sides by 100, you get 0.42. Well, that's great and all, but that is just the tax that you then have to add onto the purchase. Now you add that to the purchase and you get $567. But the question asks, after taxes added, always go back and reread the question. What is his change to be paid with a 20? So now we got to say 20 minus, oh no, 20 minus the, by that, and that would give you your answer. Cannot believe I just lost that. Okay.